Kampus terbaik, inspirasi, tebarkan harapan. Kampus terbaik, inovasi, wujudkan impian. Kampus terbaik, integritas, kuatkan tujuan. Kampus terbaik, beri terbaik untuk negeri, untuk dunia, umat manusia dan alam semesta. Mari bersama hadirkan masa depan dalam langkah dan pikiran agar selalu terdepan, berbekal ilmu dan jiwa pengabdian. Deras arus zaman takkan tertahan, majulah melangkah, oh majulah. Kampus terbaik, inspirasi, tebarkan harapan. Kampus terbaik, inovasi, wujudkan impian. Kampus terbaik, integritas, kuatkan tujuan. Kampus terbaik, beri terbaik untuk negeri, untuk dunia, umat manusia dan alam semesta. Mari bersama hadirkan masa depan dalam langkah dan pikiran agar selalu terdepan, berbekal ilmu dan jiwa pengabdian. Deras arus zaman takkan tertahan, majulah melangkah, oh majulah. Terus berpacu dalam keunggulan, lincah pembelajar untuk kehidupan. Inilah semangat baru, tekad raih kesempatan, wujudkan kampus terbaik selamanya.
Mari bersama hadirkan masa depan dalam langkah dan pikiran agar selalu terdepan, berbekal ilmu dan jiwa pengabdian. Deras arus zaman takkan tertahan, majulah melangkah.
Mari bersama hadirkan masa depan dalam langkah dan pikiran agar selalu terdepan, berbekal ilmu dan jiwa pengabdian. Deras arus zaman takkan tertahan, majulah melangkah, oh majulah. Wujudkan kampus terbaik selamanya. Wujudkan kampus terbaik selamanya. Wujudkan kampus terbaik selamanya. Wujudkan kampus terbaik selamanya.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and warm greetings to all of us. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the third International Seminar on Tropical Bioresources Advancement and Technology, ISOTOBAT 2026. With great respect, allow me to extend our warmest greetings and sincere appreciation To the Honorable Dr. Alim Setiawan Slamet STP MSI, Rector of IPB University, Professor Dr. Hewan Denny Noviana and Gerrit Robert Hackford, PhD, our distinguished keynote speakers, Dr. Hewan, Dedi Fahrudin Kurniawan MSI, our distinguished moderator for today's plenary sessions, Profesor Dr. Anuraga Jayanegara SPT MSc, Director of the Directorate of Strategic Studies and Academic Reputation IPB University, Dr. Hewan Muhammad Fahrul Ulum MSI PhD, Deputy Director for Academic Reputation, Ibu Eni Widya Astuti STP MSI, Deputy Director for Strategic Studies, and our respected presenters, invited guests, and all participants of ISOTOBAT 2026. We are truly honored to have you with us today. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. All praise is due to Allah Subhanahu wa taala. By his grace and blessings, we are able to gather virtually today. May peace and blessing also be upon our great Prophet Muhammad, whose noble character continues to guide us in our daily lives. Before we begin the first agenda, please let me introduce myself. My name is Risa, and I will be the master of ceremony for this plenary session. Ladies and gentlemen, let us continue the first agenda. The first agenda is prayer, which will be led by Bapak Muhammad Hidayat. To Bapak Muhammad Hidayat, the time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, assalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajmain. Ya Allah, the Lord of the heavens and the earth, we praise and thank you for the gift of life, health, and the opportunity to gather today. You have created us in the best form and blessed us with mind and knowledge, so that we may reflect upon and learn from your sin. Today, Ya Allah, we gather virtually for the third international seminar on tropical bioresearch, advancement and technology, ISOTOBAT 2026, organized by the Directorate of Strategic Studies and Academic Reputation IPB University, in collaboration with Asosiasi Reproduksi Hewan Indonesia and New Mexico State University, United States of America. We ask you to bless this event, our discussion, and the knowledge share, so that they may bring benefit to science, society, and future generation. Ya Allah, most forgiving, we acknowledge our weaknesses and shortcomings. Forgive our sins, negligence, and mistakes, whether intentional or unintentional. Guide us as students, lecturers, researchers, and servants of the community, so that we may carry out our responsibilities with sincerity, integrity, and excellence. Ya Allah, most merciful, expand our understanding, strengthen our collaboration, and make this conference a means to build a better future for our nation and the world. Bless our leaders, professors, teachers, staff, and all who have contributed to this program. Grant them goodness, health, and your continuous mercy. Finally, Ya Allah, accept our prayers, forgive our faults, and make our campus and our country places filled with knowledge, peace, and your blessing. Rabbana jalamna anfusana wa ilam taghfir lana wa tarhamna lanakunanna minal khasirin. Rabbana ya Allah atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzabannar. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Bapak Muhammad Hidayat, for leading the prayers. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the next agenda, the listening of the National Anthem of Indonesia Raya, followed by Hymne IPB. To the operator, please play the songs. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda is the opening speech by Dr. Alim Setiawan Slamet, Rector of IPB University. We respectfully invite Dr. Alim Setiawan Slamet to deliver the opening speech. Dr. Alim, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and peace be upon us all. Distinguished keynote speaker, Professor Tini Noviana and Dr. Kirit Robert Akuford from New Mexico State University, USA, Director of Strategic Studies and Academic Reputation, Professor Dr. Anuraga Jayanegara, Deputy Director for Academic Reputation, Dr. Muhammad Fahrul Ulum, and all invited speakers, moderators, participants, and industry partner. It's my great honor on behalf of IPB University to warmly welcome you to the third international seminar on tropical bioresources advancement and technology, or we call it ISOTOBAT 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, this year theme Tropical Bioresources for One Health, Integrating Biotechnology, Digital Tools, and Sustainability carries a very important message. It reminds us that the health of human, animal, plant, and environment cannot be separated. They are connected in one living system. Today, the world is facing many complex challenges: climate change, biodiversity loss, food insecurity, emerging disease, and environmental degradation. These challenges cannot be solved by one discipline, one institution, and one country alone. They require collaboration, openness, and strong scientific contribution. In this context, tropical bioresources have a very strategic role. Indonesia, with its rich biodiversity, has great potential to contribute to global solutions in food, agriculture, health, animal science, and environmental management. But this potential will only become meaningful if we manage it responsibly and transform it through science, technology, and sustainable innovation. This is why the integration of biotechnology, digital tools, and sustainability is so important. Biotechnology helps us understand and utilize biological resources more wisely. Digital tools help us work with greater precision and efficiency, and sustainability ensures that our innovation bring benefit not only for today, but also for future generations. As a university rooted in agriculture, tropical bioscience, and agro-maritime development, IPB University has committed to advancing knowledge that serve society. We believe that universities must not only produce research, but also create impact. University must become bridge between science and real solution for the world. Therefore, I hope ISOTOBAT 2026 will become a meaningful platform for sharing ideas, strengthening collaboration, and building new partnership among scholars, professionals, and institutions from many countries. May this seminar generate valuable insight and concrete contribution for the advancement of science and for a healthier, safer, and more sustainable future. By reciting Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I hereby declare this seminar officially open. Thank you very much. I wish you all a productive and inspiring seminar. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Alim, for the inspiring opening remarks. Before we proceed to the next agenda, we kindly ask for your cooperation to turn on your cameras for a moment, as we will take a brief photo session. Okay, we will start for the first slide. 1, 2, 3. The next slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and the third slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay, next slide. 1, 2, 3. And the last slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for the photo session. Now the photo session is complete. We will now continue to the plenary session. Before we begin the plenary session, allow me to briefly introduce our moderator. Our moderator for today's session is Dr. Hewan Dedi Fahrudin Kurniawan, MSI. He is currently Director of Dedi Pro Indonesia. Dr. Dedi has extensive expertise in veterinary medicine, dairy science, dairy cattle management, and technical consultancy. Without further ado, we respectfully invite Dr. Dedi to lead the plenary session. Dr. Dedi, the time is yours.
Thank you. Good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, Bapak.
Okay, good. So good morning, everybody. So I will be your host today. And we would like to invite our speakers today, Professor Denny Noviana and Professor Robert Hagevort. So our session will be like 30 minutes for each speakers. We will start with Professor Denny Noviana, which is the Vice Rector of Education and Students Affairs, IBB University, Indonesia. He's a very expert in his field on veterinary, biomaterial cardiology, and radiology. So Professor Denny is very famous speakers and scientist in Indonesia. So we would like to invite Professor Denny Noviana to be on stage, on screen, and will deliver his speech to all of us for the next 30 minutes. Okay, can I see Professor Denny, please? Professor Denny, can you hear me?
Sure, Dr. Dedi, thank you very much for the very brief introduction.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so we will have like 30 minutes for you to present your opening speech to all of us for this event. Okay, the screen is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I will do my best, maybe less than 30 minutes, Dr. Dedi. Okay, so good morning. Can the organizing committee help me to share the screen? Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Denny Noviana from School of Veterinary Medicine and Biomedical Sciences of IPB University. Thank you for the opportunity to deliver this keynote on the third international seminar on tropical bioresources, advancement and technology, with the topic, the role of biomedical imaging in sustainably improving the health quality of animal resources in Indonesia. Animal resources are not only related to meat, milk, and egg production, they're also linked to public health, animal welfare, wildlife conservation, food safety, and biomedical research. In this session, I will talk how imaging technologies can move beyond diagnostic support and become a strategic pillar for a more precise, inclusive, and sustainable animal health system. Next slide, please. So this presentation is organized into 4 parts. First, why animal research health should be viewed as a strategic national and one health issue. The second, introduce the biomedical imaging technology landscape and the practical roles of major modalities. The third part highlights selected application in livestock, poultry products, wildlife, companion animals, and animal models for research. Finally, talk about sustainability contribution, implementation challenges in Indonesia, and strategic direction for future development. Next slide, please. The central message of this keynote is simple. Biomedical imaging is no longer only a sporting diagnostic tool. It transforms biological processes that are usually hidden from direct observation into visual evidence that can guide action. Through imaging, we can detect conditions earlier, such as pregnancy, reproductive disorders, inflammation, lesion, heat stress, tissue changes, and implant response. We can also make better decisions because clinical, production, conservation, and research intervention are supported by more objective information. Next slide, please. So let us begin with the first part. Why animal research health matters. Animal resources should not be viewed only as a production asset. There are biological capital that connects food system, livelihoods, public health, environmental sustainability, and biomedical innovation. When we use this broader perspective, technologies for animal health, including biomedical imaging, become part of a wider development agenda. They support not only diagnosis, but also productivity, welfare, conservation, and national resilience. Next slide, please. Animal resources include food producing animal, wildlife, laboratory animals, and companion animals. Their contributions are diverse. Food-producing animals provide animal source protein through meat, milk, and eggs. Livestock enterprises support household income and employment across production chains. Animal health is also directly related to the public health through zoonotic disease control and food safety. Wildlife contributes to the ecosystem balance and biodiversity conservation. Animal models support biomedical and translational research. Companion animals contribute to physiological well-being and human social support. Therefore, when we discuss animal health, we are simultaneously discussing food security, economic development, public health, environmental sustainability, and scientific progress as well. Next slide, please. Indonesia faces a complex animal health landscape. Zoonotic and non-zoonotic disease can affect animal population, human, and ecosystem. Access to advanced diagnostic services remains uneven, especially between urban and rural areas. Limited early detection may delay clinical decision, increase treatment costs, reduce reproductive efficiency, and create production losses. Climate change add another layer of pressure. Heat stress can affect livestock performance and production. Habitat shift may influence wildlife health, and changing environmental conditions can alter disease dynamic. These challenges require tools that are early, objective, portable, and directly useful for decision making. Next slide. Biomedical imaging is strategically relevant because it connects biological change with practical decision making. Many important changes inside the animal body cannot be assessed accurately through external observation alone. Imaging allows us to convert those hidden changes into visual evidence. Once visual evidence is available, veterinarians, farmers, conservation teams, and researchers can make more informed decisions. The final objective is not merely to produce images. The objective is to improve outcomes, healthier animals, more efficient production, better welfare, safer food products, stronger conservation program, and more ethical research. Next slide, please. The second part of this keynote introduced the technology landscape. Biomedical imaging is not a single technology. It is an ecosystem of modalities, each with different strength, limitation, costs, and field requirements. A sustainable imaging strategy should not ask which modality is the most advanced. Instead, it should ask which modality answer the most relevant biological question under the actual field or clinical condition. This is especially important for Indonesia, where animal health services vary greatly in infrastructure, access, and human resource capacity. Next slide. Several major imaging modalities are relevant to veterinary medicine and animal resource health. Ultrasonography is powerful for real-time visualization of soft tissue, reproduction, and pregnancy. Radiography remains essential for bone, hoof, thoracic, and implant monitoring. Electrical impedance tomography or CT scan can help assess tissue composition based on electrical properties. Spectral imaging is useful for product quality and food safety inspection. Infrared thermography provides non-contact temperature mapping, which is valuable for heat stress, inflammation, and physiological monitoring. Echocardiography or heart ultrasound evaluate cardiac structure and function. CT scan provides high-resolution cross-sectional image, while magnetic resonance image or MRI offers superior soft tissue contrast, particularly for the central nervous system and spinal cord. The key principle is to match the modality with the biological question, the available infrastructure, and the decision that needs to be made. Next slide, please. The history of veterinary imaging closely follows the development of imaging in human medicine. Since the discovery of X-ray in 1895, radiography has allowed internal structure to be visualized without surgical exploration. Veterinary radiology developed further in the early 20th century and became a central diagnostic tool for skeletal and joint disorders. Ultrasonography expanded in veterinary medicine from 1970 onward, followed by CT scan and MRI as an advanced diagnostic modalities. Today, the field is moving toward digital imaging, quantitative image analysis, artificial intelligence, and connected data system. The trajectory is shifting from a single image diagnosis toward repeatable, connected, and decision-oriented imaging ecosystem. Next slide, please. Now move to the third part, selected application. This part not focused on every technical details. Instead, I will highlight how imaging creates values across different animal research contexts. The examples include reproductive ultrasonography, early pregnancy diagnosis, meat quality assessment, spectral imaging for poultry products, imaging in wildlife and marine mammals, radiography in large animals, thermography and echocardiography, CT scan and MRI in companion animal, and radiological imaging in vivo research. Next slide, please. The first application is reproductive ultrasonography. In male animals, ultrasonography can be used to evaluate the testicle, epididymis, scrotal contents, tissue echogenicity, and reproductive health status. This is particularly useful for breeding, soundness assessment, and reproductive management. In female animals, ultrasonography allows visualization of the ovaries, uterus, and corpus luteum, follicles, uterine pathology, and pregnancy status. In ruminants, real-time ultrasonography support early diagnosis, monitoring of afferent dynamics, and reproductive decision-making. This makes ultrasonography one of the most practical and impactful imaging modalities for livestock reproductive efficiency. Next slide, please. The value of reproductive ultrasonography does not stop at the individual animal levels. Its impact can scale up to the herd level. After mating or artificial insemination, early scanning allows veterinarians and farmers to classify animals as pregnant or open. This enables timely rebreeding, treatment, monitoring, or management adjustment. Early pregnancies diagnosis reduce wasted time, feed, labor, and economic losses associated with delay detection. In this sense, pregnancy diagnosis is not merely a clinical procedure. It is a time-sensitive management intervention that supports production, efficiency, and sustainability. Next slide, please. The next application is meat quality assessment. In beef production, marbling or intramuscular fat is an important quality trait because it influences flavor, tenderness, juiciness, and aroma. Traditionally, carcass quality is assessed after slaughter, but this approach is less useful for pre-slaughter decision making. Ultrasonography can be used to estimate carcass quality in live animals, particularly through back muscle imaging. Electrical impedance tomography provides complementary information based on the electrical characteristic of the tissues, which can help differentiate fat and muscle composition. Together, these methods can support better slaughtering timing, quality sorting, and production chain efficiency. Next slide, please. In poultry systems, biomedical imaging is relevant not only for live animals, but also for post-harvest product assessment. Spectral imaging combines image information with spectral information, allowing non-destructive evaluation of poultry product characteristics. This technology can help assess freshness, color change, quality deterioration, storage-related changes, and potential microbial contamination. In an industrial setting, spectral imaging can support product sorting, grading, quality control, and food safety monitoring. This example shows that biomedical imaging can support the entire animal-derived food chain from animal health to product safety. Next slide. In wildlife and marine mammals, ultrasonography has high value because it is portable, non-invasive, and capable of real-time assessment. It can be used to evaluate abdominal organs, reproductive organs, thoracic structures, cardiovascular structures, soft tissue, and pregnancy status in field or facility settings. However, wildlife imaging also has specific challenges: species variation, unique anatomy, body conformation, hair, scales, gas, bone, cell structures, and the need for restraint or sedation can all affect image quality. Successful application therefore requires collaboration among veterinarians, conservation specialists, physiologists, field technicians, and trained animal handler. Next slide, please. Radiography remains an important modality in large animals, especially for hard tissue such as bones, joints, and hooves. In horses with laminitis, hoof radiography can be used to assess rotation or displacement of the third phalanx on end or other structural changes that may not be fully visible on clinical inspection. Objective radiographic assessment helps determine disease severity, monitor treatment response, and guide welfare-oriented clinical decision. In production and performance animals, accurate diagnostic of locomotor disorder is directly related to animal welfare, productivity, performance, and treatment cost efficiency. Next slide, please. Two additional applications are infrared thermography and echocardiography. Infrared thermography is highly relevant in tropical countries because it allows non-contact measurement of body surface temperature. It can support monitoring of heat stress, inflammation, injury, reproductive physiology, and group-level physiological changes. This is particularly useful because conventional temperature or blood-based measurement may require handling and can induce stress to the animals. Echocardiography, on the other hand, provides an ultrasonographic windows into cardiac structure and function. In tin-tail sheep, echocardiography supports both animal health evaluation and translational cardiovascular research. These examples show how imaging can capture functional information, not only anatomical structure. Next slide. In companion animals, CT and MRI expands diagnostic precision, particularly referral practices. CT scan provides high-resolution cross-sectional imaging and is useful for evaluating the nasal cavity, ears, lung, vascular structure, musculoskeletal lesion, masses, tumor, abdominal scanning, and surgical planning. Magnetic resonance image provides superior soft tissue contrast and is especially valuable for brain, spinal cord, central nervous system, and selected musculoskeletal disorder. The main limitations are cost, anesthesia requirement, limited facility availability, and the need for specialized expertise. In Indonesia, these modalities can be developed progressively through referral hospital, veterinary teaching hospital, and research centers. Next slide. In vivo research, biomedical imaging has a crucial role because it allows anatomical structure, physiological functions, disease progression, and therapeutic response to be monitored longitudinally in the same animal. This improves data quality and reduces the need for invasive endpoints. For example, X-ray and micro-CT can be used to study spinal architectures and scoliosis progression in most animal models. Radiography can also visualize gas cavity formation during magnesium implant degradation in rats. These approaches support biomaterial safety assessment, disease characterization, and the 3R principle, especially reduction and refinement. Next slide. After reviewing this application, and key question is how biomedical imaging contributes to sustainability. Sustainability in animal health is not limited to the environmental impact. It also includes welfare, productivity, food safety, access to services, research ethics, and long-term system capacity. Biomedical imaging contributes to all of these dimensions when it is implemented truthfully. It enables early detection, more precise decision making, reduce invasiveness, improve monitoring, and more reliable data. The challenge is to transform imaging from isolated equipment into an integrated animal health capability. Next slide. Biomedical imaging supports sustainability in multiple levels. First, it improves animal welfare because many diagnostic procedures can be performed with less invasiveness and can be repeated over time. Second, it improves production efficiency through better reproductive management, earlier disease detection, and improved carcass or product quality assessment. The third, imaging support food safety by enabling objective inspection and quality control. Fourth, it contributes to conservation through health and reproductive monitoring of wildlife. Fifth, it strengthens research ethics by allowing longitudinal data collection and supporting the 3R principle. This makes imaging a cross-cutting tool for sustainable animal research management. Next slide. The implementation challenges in Indonesia are not only about equipment availability. Technology requires a supporting system. Infrastructure is needed for space, electricity, connectivity, data storage, maintenance, and calibration. Financing is also important, especially for advanced modalities such as CT and MRI, which require high investment and operational costs. Human resources are equally critical. Imaging requires skill in image acquisition, interpretation, integration with clinical findings, and data analysis. Access equity is another challenge because advanced diagnostic services are often concentrated in better equipped regions. Therefore, Indonesia should prioritize scalable, maintainable, and locally relevant modalities first, such as portable ultrasound, digital radiography, and infrared thermography. Next slide. We propose a four-stage roadmap. The first stage is access, expanding the availability of practical modalities such as portable ultrasonography, digital radiography, and thermography in priority location. The second stage is capacity building, training veterinarians, veterinary radiologists, technicians, and data analysis. The third stage is data, building Indonesian animal image databases that reflects local species, breeds, diseases, management system, and environmental condition. The fourth stage is intelligence, integrating artificial intelligence, decision support, cloud system, and One Health surveillance. This roadmap moves the system from access to intelligence. Next slide. The future of biomedical imaging is not simply about producing more images. It is about producing better interpretation. Digital integration and artificial intelligence can assist with lesion detection, disease classification, anatomical segmentation, quantitative measurement, carcass quality prediction, heat stress monitoring, and population level surveillance. However, the artificial intelligence is not a replacement for veterinarian. It is a decision support tool. Its performance depends on data quality, population representation, clinical validation, and integration with field context. For Indonesia, building local datasets and validation protocol will be essential. With the right approaches, AI can help reduce gaps in expertise, accelerate interpretation, and expand the benefits of imaging across the national animal health system. Next slide. Summary this keynote in a four take-home message. Take-home message. First, biomedical imaging turns hidden biological changes into actionable visual evidence. The second, its value extends beyond companion animal clinics to livestock, wildlife, animal-derived products, and research models. The third, imaging contributes to sustainability through better animal welfare, production efficiency, food safety, conservation, and ethical research. Fourth, Indonesia needs scalable access, trained people, local image databases, and AI-ready integration. A precise animal health system starts with the ability to see earlier, measure more objectively, and act more appropriately. Next slide. To conclude, biomedical imaging should be viewed not only as a diagnostic technology, but also a strategic component of sustainable animal health development. It can help Indonesia build a system that is more precise, more equitable, and better connected to one health priorities. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Professor Dani, please accept my personal respect to your presentation. It's very awakening for all of us, especially for me as part of used to be your student. So everybody, by having this presentation, now we are realized that everything that used to be only in our imagination, it's now become reality visible. So I'm pretty sure we all believe that in the future, the way we study, the way we diagnose things, and the way we make decisions will be very accurate and easier. Okay, so we still have like five minutes time for everybody if you want to have any question, but I'm gonna limit only one question because of the time limitation. So I'm gonna give you opportunity for one question if there is any. Otherwise, I will have my own question. Okay, so yeah, I'll give everybody who wants to share, who wants to put their hands up if they want to have any question. Nobody. So okay, Professor Danny, I'm gonna have one little question. So if we looking at the future, okay. Oh, okay. This is one question for from Hadriana Bansi. Okay, please go ahead. Put your cameras on and say your question. Go ahead. Hadriana Bansi. Hello, Hadriana Bansi. Are you there? Okay, probably by mistake. Okay, one question from me for Professor Denny. So in the future, how do you see our study style, you know, for the student and for the veterinarians to study and make decision? What will be, how far are we from those equipments based AI, etc., etc.?
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Dedi. Talk about the study or the environmental system in the university, right? So now, at least in IPB itself, now we will change the curriculum actually, yeah. So we will use not classical method to deliver the subject to the student. We will use the we call it the block system. So actually, this block system is already delivered in the Faculty of Medicine and Human Medicine since a long ago. Now, at least in the world, they are separated into two. One is classical method. I mean, classical method is, for example, anatomy subject, and then surgery, and then internal medicine. This is a little bit different with the block subject. The block subject is so the student give one subject, for example, the cardiovascular system, start from the anatomy, physiology, and disease and the treatment. So it makes the student more completely see, more holistic the problem, not some kind like separately. But this is still there are two opinions actually about these things. But in our opinion, in our university, we think this is more better because the technology is very rapid changes. So if we teach the student with the classical, so we cannot coverage all the technology in the one time. So we need to elaborate more technology, but in other hand, still we need to deliver the student with the basic knowledge. So we want to make this more complete for the student. And then, of course, the study itself, the length of study, which we have limited, yeah, because we have only 4 years student and 4 years, and then 1.5. So we have to use these 5.5 years to teach the student with the very rapid changing technology.
Thank you very much. It's going to be very accurate then. Okay, I've got one more question. This is going to be the last question from the audience. From Hadriana Bansi. It has problem with microphone. But however, the question is, in the use of IRT, many factors influence it, including the wind, the dust, mud, and blocks of the skin. How to overcome the accuracy?
Yeah, this means artificial exploration technology, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Of course, first, the most important is so as I said in this talk session. So
we're talking about infrared thermography.
Oh, infrared thermography.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is very very good question. Yeah. So we have see from the two view. One, if the human, yeah. So you have to give the basic standard how to use. This is important, yeah. I mean the operational procedure should be proper, yeah. And then the next training itself is important, yeah. Train people also important. And then the third is standardized technical is important. And then of course the fourth is the thermography itself. So this is 4 factors that can influence the quality of the result from the thermography technique. I think that's all, Pak.
Well, okay, thank you very much, Professor Denny. That was a very very good presentation. Once again, thank you very much. We appreciate for all of your speech and presentation today. So yeah, thank you very much for Professor Danny. We applause Professor Danny, and everybody. We're gonna have another session for the opening speech today. The second session today will be by Professor Robert Hagevort. Okay, Professor Robert Hagevort is a lecturer and trainer, and from New Mexico University, USA. Professor Robert is also a senior expert consultant for US IDP, US Indonesia Dairy Partnership Program, held by US Dairy Export Council. He is expert in dairy production management, immunology and microbiology, biochemistry, veterinary, and health professional, especially on dairy. So Professor Robert Hagevort has been come and go to Indonesia in the last 3 years. He works with a lot of farmers throughout Indonesia, throughout Java, especially for US IDP program. So, well, good morning, Professor Robert.
Good morning or good evening for those of us that are a little bit behind you all.
Yeah, so it's 12 hours different. So it's like what, 10 p.m. at your place?
9 o'clock, 9:03.
9 o'clock, right. So it's 11 hours difference. So yeah, well, Professor Robert Hagevort will present for this opening speech for all of us. You will have like 30 minutes for presentation. and we might have
Okay.
1 or 2 questions if possible. Okay, the screen is yours.
All right, very good. I'm going to try to share my screen and get my presentation up, and I hope that you can see my presentation. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, perfect.
Perfect. All right, very good. So I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you from the United States, even though we are a few hours behind you all. And I think it's a perfect timing, 9 o'clock at night, to be given a keynote speech at a conference, and I'm honored to be a guest and a keynote speaker at the conference. And so, what I would like to talk about is what Dr. Dedi just mentioned is a project that we have been working on in Indonesia now for the last 2 years with the U.S. Dairy Export Council, and it's really follows kind of the outset of the conference and it's entitled "Optimizing Dairy Cattle Production and Management to Enhance Food Security and Human Development." And basically, it's a combination of integrating biotechnology, digital tools, sustainability, and smallholder capacity building in tropical dairy systems. Very much in line with the conference outset. Let me move to the next, my first slide here. So really what we're talking about and what we're trying to do in Indonesia is working on this concept of healthy cows, healthy families, and healthy communities. And of course, I've shared here some pictures of the project that we've been working on with the U.S. Dairy Export Council, but then also with a lot of partners in Indonesia, trying to train and develop smallholder farmers, dairy farmers in Indonesia. And really what it is about transforming tropical dairy systems through One Health, technology, and human capacity building. Why tropical dairy matters. And that may seem a very simplistic question, but it is something of the basis of where we need to start in order to develop, being able to develop capacity at smallholder dairy farms in Indonesia. Of course, dairy production is directly linked to food production. And I need to move myself out of the way so I can see my screen. There we go. Perfect. Now I'm good. Dairy production is directly linked to food security and nutrition. Of course, tropical dairy systems support millions of rural households, and that goes beyond any saying. Smallholder dairies are critical to the economic engines in Southeast Asia, and sustainable dairy development improves not only household nutrition, but also economic stability, educational opportunities, rural resilience, and ultimately women's empowerment. The tropical dairy challenge, however, is that we're dealing, of course, with heat stress, especially when it comes to dairy and dairy cows for non-tropical breeds in the tropical areas. The other challenge is, of course, feed quality and access limitations to feed. Water quality and access to water is a challenge. Disease pressure is a challenge. Limited access to veterinary support. Inconsistent milk handling and labor constraints. Those are all challenges, and I'm probably not telling you anything new when I say these things, but it kind of frames the project that we've been working on. Beyond that, we have some infrastructure limitations that play a role in that as well. The future of tropical dairy production cannot rely simply on producing more cows and more milk. It must focus on producing healthier and resilient animals, better feed quality, more resilient farms, and stronger, better educated communities. Food security begins with farmer education. And I think that that goes beyond any words. I mean, that is where things start, and that is where the project that we've been working on in education in Indonesia centers around. The education and training challenge. And now I'm talking about the US, the United States. The education and training challenge that we encounter with our farmers and with our farming workforce is that training materials, we rely on training materials that have been written a long time ago, and we sometimes deal with farmers and with workers that have either a lower literacy level or have reading comprehension challenges, meaning that we don't read or write, or that we don't write these training materials at the level where the farmers would understand what we're talking about. Not all of us have gone to college. Not all of us have an advanced degree. And so when we start talking to workers or farmers, a lot of the materials that we have written go beyond the comprehension level of the farmers that we're dealing with. Most of us, as we're talking to farmers, as we're talking to workers on farms, we are adults, and most of us as adult learners are visual learners. And so therefore, providing written materials for farmers and for workers to understand may not be the best way or the most effective way to be able to relate that material to these farmers. The other problem is farmers are busy. So trying to be able to do training and trying to be able to do this education um, with farmers that have to feed cows, milk cows, work the farm, it is very hard to find that time and be able to work with them and take a lot of time for that education and for that training. Still in the United States, we have on farms limited access to computers. We also still have limited access to cell phone and internet service. That may sound really, really weird, but because we are a very large country and the state where I live, New Mexico, there's lots of areas where we have no reception, cell phone reception whatsoever. And so on farm, we may be dealing with not having sufficient access to computers or technology to be able to work with farmers or work with workers on farm to be able to show or send them the information that they would need for this training. So we really have a need for when I talk about this, we really have a need for more effective training materials, not just training materials in general, but more effective training materials, things that really hit home. So what makes the Indonesian situation so unique? Something that we encountered on the first trip that we made out in 2024. Wherever we went, it doesn't matter if it was in rural areas, somewhere in mountainous areas, cell phone reception and internet access through cell phone reception was incredibly good, even in very rural areas. That I cannot say that's everywhere the case in the United States or here in the state where I live in New Mexico. And then of course, on top of that, everybody has a cell phone. And so having cell phone and having cell phone technology now opens the door for being able to deliver training materials, of course, in an audio and visual format, a video format, a visual format, very easy. Just think about the time that we live in since 2005 that YouTube was developed or it came online. Um, we live now in the era where we can find videos on everything: how to cook, how to fix, how to farm, how to dairy. You just basically put it into YouTube, and there is a litany of opportunities where we can find materials for training, for how to cook, how to fix your car, how to fix your whatever you're looking for. It is on YouTube. And so this has really provided a platform by which training materials can, as long as you have cell phone reception or internet, that we can deliver these audio visual materials and bring those on a farm, even if a farmer or a worker on the farm may have limited literacy or reading comprehension. It may not necessarily always be literacy, but simply reading comprehension, understanding the technology that we're talking about. I mean, it's from nutrition to reproduction to all these different technologies. It's pretty technological, and so the comprehension of what we're trying to relate and what we're trying the story that we're trying to tell becomes pretty complicated pretty quickly. So this is a whole new training and education paradigm that has been developed over the last 20 years, and we've taken advantage of that here in the United States by translating a lot of our standard operating procedures that we have on dairies to what we call video standard operating procedures. So everything is now no longer written. It is now in a video and audio format. So people can see and hear what it is when we're talking about healthy cows, when we're talking about nutrition, when we're talking about reproduction, and all those different areas, all those different technological areas. We started with this in 2014 with a program that we had already been doing, which is safety training on dairy, especially for people that do not come from a dairy and are now working on a dairy, that don't understand what it is to work with a 1,500 or a 800 pound kilogram cow, and with tractors and electrical equipment and chemicals, and may not understand the risk that may be involved in that. So our dairy safety program is also, we created videos that we were then able to put on iPads to where we can go out to a dairy, as you can see some pictures here, where we then deliver that training, and these trainees would have a set of earbuds and can watch it and listen to it and understand and see what it is that we're trying to explain. So now we're creating a much more effective way of training. Then we followed it up in 2016 and 17 with the stockmanship training that we did for our National Milk Producers Federation in our farm program, Farmers Assuring Responsible Management. And did basically the same thing. We filmed this, and then, of course, we created that and put that on the video also on iPads, to where we were then able to deliver that on dairies, and then actually take that one step further to go out in the pens with these workers and then practice some of these things that we were talking about, like all the different aspects of animal handling that we address in these videos. So we have a long history of doing that here in the US, and we've created a lot of these, and these videos are used over and over. They are online, and we see a lot of usage by farmers and by workers on dairies of that material. So we reasoned what we can do in the US, we can also do in Indonesia or elsewhere for that matter. It is just a matter of creating the materials. And so in working with U.S. Dairy Export Council, we formed the U.S. IDP, the U.S. Indonesia Dairy Partnership. And we went to Indonesia several times. I've been now in Indonesia, I think 8 times. This month is, I think, going to be the 9th time that we'll be traveling. Now, of course, the challenges, there are currently only less than 24,000 dairy farms in the U.S. That number in Indonesia is much higher. I think about 3 times as much than what we currently have in the U.S. So a lot of farms and a lot of farmers. Our numbers are dwindling. So the question then becomes, how do you multiply or amplify that training material? How do you reach that many farmers? The question also was, what is our target audience? And we are focusing on the small and medium-sized dairy farmers and farmers who are likely to adopt and change, those that are willing to look at some of these materials and are willing to make changes in their nutrition program, in maybe their housing, course, if finances allow, but those are likely to adopt some of these changes that they may have to do. The partners that we have worked with in Indonesia are of course, the Ministry of Agriculture. We have worked with academia, IBP, great example. We have worked with University in Palembang, Sriwijaya, Jawa. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but and forgive for my pronunciation. We work with the co-ops, and we work with some of the larger mega farms that, of course, have an influence on all the smaller farms around them that they may be bringing milk in from. The overarching goal, of course, is providing farmers with opportunities and the tools to improve production 1 liter at a time. It is all small incremental changes that can ultimately provide the financial resources for them to continue to grow. One health, therefore, starts on the farm. So here are some pictures of when we were in Indonesia and brought our videographer that I've worked with for many, many years to Indonesia, and some of the pictures where we're getting this footage. And of course, with that, we've gone to work and we created a syllabus of all kind of video material that we would want to create regarding nutrition. As an example here, reproduction and genetics, how to improve that. Human and animal health, the 3rd chapter, milk quality, and then, of course, at the end, young stocking calves and heifers. So five categories of different areas that we would like to address. Not in English, but of course in Bahasa. And with that, we work with Dr. Dedi and Dairy Pro and his team to be able to get that information. We also do provide some written or printed training materials that we're going to be working with. And that's the Cow Signals book that was developed through the Netherlands and through a team there. But it's not necessarily much written material as it is the picture, so visual material. So there is some writing, but a lot of pictures to be able to see what we're talking about when we're talking about mastitis, or when we're talking about all these different things and jargon in dairy management. A little bit about the timeline. We started in January of 2024 with the fact-finding mission and came out to Indonesia, and we met with producers to ask them, what are your needs and how can we address that? What are the things that you would need from an educational or a training perspective that could help you reach those goals that we just talked about? Then in June of 24, we met with the key opinion leaders, like I said, academia, from IBP, from University in Palembang, with Dr. Dedi, with his team, and looking at how we could address some of those needs. Then we came out in September of 24 and recorded, obtained all that video material. And then in November 24, we came out, and USDEC in collaboration with a lot of different partners and different universities in Indonesia, we officially launched the program. Then in January of 25, the first training videos on nutrition and reproduction were launched. Back in June of last year, we came to Indonesia and released videos in human and animal health and biosecurity, combination of those topics. In December, we released the first videos on milk quality that are now available through the US IDP website. And then in June 2026, in June of 26, we will be coming out to release the first calf and heifer raising videos. Now, those are all available to the farmers that are enrolled in the program. Of course, we cannot come out to Indonesia every time that we release a video or any time that we want to do a farmer training. But the program that is being supported by the U.S. Dairy Export Council is a long-term commitment to try to help farmers in Indonesia. Here's, for example, a training evaluation summary. We want to know, we're measuring the impact of that training is having. And we want to make sure that the farmers and the workers on these farms indeed understand what we're trying to relate to them, the materials, that they're satisfied with that training. And so this is just a picture of some of the evaluations that the team is doing. And the average score here on this particular one was 4.43 out of 5, a satisfaction rate of 97% out of the 3,200 over 3,200 responses. And I cannot understand some of the words that are on there, but I do understand that this is a very good response rate and that is a very good score for some of the trainings that we're doing. It also tells us what we need to be doing better, right? And that is important. So now we're working on effective training, not just training for training's sake to be able to check the box, but actually effective training, making a difference, because that is what it's all about. So here is a snapshot that is available that we have because we are measuring impact. We're trying to tally what we're doing. So there's a lot of information on this slide, but you can see that a lot of trainers have been trained. So we're first training trainers that ultimately train farmers. Now, who are these trainers? So those are technicians, co-op technicians. Those are people in academia. Those are extension folks. Those are consultants that we invite to the trainers training, and that can go out and multiply that signal to all of the farmers in these different areas. What I have found is Java is a big island. There's a lot of ground to be covered. There's a lot of farmers out there that need to be reached. And so this is just in its initial phases, but you can see we've had 2 kickoff MOU signings, national seminars with universities, including at IBP. And we've had, at that point in time, this is a snapshot that we took, I believe, in September of last year, where we'd had 2 training of trainers, where there were 96 active farmers enrolled in the program, representing 238 cows. Those trainings were done at 8 locations, and after those trainings, there's follow-up visits to see how these farmers are actually implementing some of those nutrition protocols or reproduction protocols or any of these practices that are being addressed in these trainings. So 1,388 farmer visits, 29 training of farmers, 40 active trainers, representing a total amount of milk at that point in time enrolled in the program of almost 100,000 liters. So here you can see how we're measuring the progress in this program. And then at the end of the day, we want to let the statistics talk. And here is a snapshot that I received at one point. I can't say exactly the date, but it tells us how many users there are through the USD IDP website, how many farmers are being reached, how many trainers are in the program, how many trainings were conducted, cow population, total milk production, total visits, the certificates of training that have been issued through that program, and the number of areas that have been visited. This is a beginning. This is not covering all of the island yet. This is not covering all of the industry, but you have to start somewhere. But we're measuring the impact that the program is having. And so the question is, at this point in time, and I can't remember exactly when this snapshot was taken, we were reaching 0.25% of the dairy cows and 0.06% of the dairy farmers in Indonesia. That's a start. That's the beginning. Of course, we want to see these numbers increase and change over time. And the question that was being asked was, what would happen if we were given the opportunity to work with more cows and more farmers? That reach we want to amplify. And so I can only say that we work with an incredible team of experts in Indonesia that understand the situations, and all that we can contribute to from my expertise and other expertise here in the US is bring that knowledge in a form and in a format that is easy to watch, easy to digest, and easy for the user, the end user, to understand. And the reason, and one of the things that we always emphasize in these videos, is the financial impact. If you do these things, you have the potential the dollar and cents question that we talk about. If you do these things, this is what that means in dollars and cents to your bottom line, to your production, for your cows, for your calves, and for ultimately for your family and for your community. So it is the program, ultimately it's the training of trainers, and it is those trainers that multiply that signal throughout the farming community in Indonesia. Training is one of the highest return investments in dairy development. And I can say that unequivocally. I've seen that here in the US, and I see that in other parts of the country as well. So here is a snapshot that in closing, that I want to show. These are on our website, the IUSIDP website, are some of the trainings that are coming up. I took this, the snapshot was shared the other day, 16th of May, the 19th of May. So all of this week, there's a lot of different, and next week, there's a lot of different trainings going on in different areas. You can also, of course, see some of the introductory videos of some of the program that we've been able to develop. So with this in closing, One Health becomes real when the knowledge reaches the farm. And that is ultimately what we're all about. One Health, meaning both the communities, the families, the farms, the animals in one concept. The future of tropical dairy system depends on connecting science with the people. And that is what we're trying to do in this program. There is some information here for the USIDP partnership, the contact information in Indonesia. And with that, I want to thank you for the opportunity of being able to share this with you. I am delighted to be part of this project, and I can say we work with a great team, both in the US side as well as Indonesia, and we're looking forward to a future where we can continue to do this and impact the farmers in Indonesia. What I can tell you is, from having talked to many, many farmers, maybe not in Bahasa, but through a translator, is that the farmers that we work with are thrilled to receive this information. They're thrilled to learn about these opportunities that are there, that may be very simple things about providing water, providing better feed, providing better housing, and how to do these kind of things, the genetics and reproduction portions of it. And I go back and I listen to those stories, and we have some of these videos from farmers that have been impacted that tell these stories. And then I go like, we're making a difference. So that is where I will end and turn it back over to the moderator. Dr. Deddy, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. It's very to the point and inspiring speech, Professor Roberts. So, ladies and gentlemen, the attendee, we now understand there are always a lot of options. There are always ways to contribute to develop the dairy in Indonesia, not the training for the sake of training itself only, but the US IDP program gives us ideas. There's another better way. There's always better way to develop dairy in Indonesia. So, okay, we will have another 10 minutes maximum. If we have questions or discussion that we want to do from the attendee, so we will give opportunity for everybody to ask any question to Professor Roberts, not only on the training program that we have listened from the presentation, but you may also ask about the dairy point of view to Professor Roberts, because he's a dairy extension specialist. So all you need to know about the dairy, all you need to know about the extension, and the way we develop the system is open for question. Okay, we will ask everybody to ask any question if there is any, and I will start to to stimulate the question from Professor Roberts. So you were saying that you only work with 0.25% of the dairy of Indonesia and 0.6% of the dairy farmer. So
Right.
what do you need? What do you think required to be able to cover 100% of dairy cattle and 100% of Indonesian farmer?
Well, that's a great question. What we need is, of course, develop the materials first, and we're still in the process of continuing to develop more materials, and we may need to make another trip out there to get more video footage and for additional training materials, and really what the needs are is a great team of people that we have already worked with, and you all have done a great job in multiplying that signal, reaching veterinarians, reaching co-op technicians, reaching people and that is why we have the understandings with with academia, with several universities in Indonesia. There is a lot of young people in Indonesia graduating out of universities with a lot of knowledge that can utilize some of this material to make an impact in farms. So it's the multiplication of the signal. There's no way that we from the US would be able to reach all these thousands of farmers in Indonesia. But I think that the other part is that a lot of the farmers that have participated in the program and are enthusiastic about it, they will tell their neighbors and say, hey, this is something that I've been able to benefit from. I've heard that verbatim from farmers, and maybe that's something you should consider as well, and attend some of these trainings. And so ultimately, it's not something that is being directed from here, from the United States, but can be done on the ground by people in Indonesia. It's something that is easily multipliable because the information is online and it's accessible via cell phones, via internet service, easily accessible, something that we never had. So in extension, we always used to have farmer meetings, and we would have to run all over the country here in the US or wherever we are to go to these meetings and have these meetings in person. But with this technology that we now have, that is as simple as cell phones and internet service, we can deliver that in a much easier format and a much easier way. And somebody can watch it at their time. They can take the training when they want to. They don't have to necessarily go to a meeting. They can access that from wherever they're at. And if somebody wants to know, how was it again that I needed to mix this ration to make sure that my cows give enough milk, they can go back to that very same video that they watched and looked at, much like a YouTube video. How do I replace the battery in my car? Or how do I cook rice? I'm not a good cook, but how do you cook rice? Well, you take 1 cup of rice and 2 cups of water. And I don't know if I have that right, but that's how you cook rice. So I think it is being able to deliver that in the simplest format for farmers to watch that and see that or go back to when they have time.
Okay.
So
Well,
I think that is one of the ways how we can reach those numbers and increase those numbers over time.
Okay. So, Professor Robert, there's 2 more questions that might relevant to your answer. So, how do you make sure that the video it's going to be that's been watched by the farmer? How do you filter the video? So that's one question. And then, how do you make sure that the farmers implement your training program by this kind of system? It's going to be the last question.
That last question is a very good one. How do you we don't know if they implement that. However, I think that the incentive is at the end of every video where we talk about dollars and cents. If you were to implement some of these practices, and if you were to do these things, it is going to result in these numbers of dollars and cents. How it's going to financially help the bottom line of that farm, and every farmer is sensitive to that, right? They all want to be able to do better. They all want to be able to make some more money so that they can expand and, maybe buy another cow, or with that financial gain, go to a bank or to a financial institution be able to maybe have access to credit to expand their herd. And so I think a big part of that is the dollars and cents, talking about how that can help their bottom line for their family, and the bottom line for their farm.
Okay. I'm afraid there's another lot of questions, but I'm afraid we haven't got the time for this session.
Okay.
So
All right.
everybody, if you want to ask any more questions to Professor Robert, you can just send him an email. Okay. So, and if you want to know more about the program, just click www.usidb.id. Thank you very much, Professor Robert, for great presentation and great discussion. It's gonna be inspiring for everybody. Thank you very much, everybody.
Awesome.
So, okay, thank you. So
Thank you.
that's all of the opening session for today. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for paying a very good attention for all of the speakers. So thank you for Professor Danny and Professor Roberts for all of your presentation and speakings. That's it for me. I'll return it back to the committee. Thank you. Good morning. Good evening.
Thank you very
Bye.
much, Dr. Dedi, for moderating this plenary session. We truly appreciate your guidance and insight throughout the session. We would also like to express our deepest gratitude to our distinguished keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Hewan Denoviana and Garrett Robert Hagford, PhD, for sharing valuable knowledge and perspective with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, this marks the end of our plenary session. The program will continue with the parallel session. Please kindly refer to the detailed parallel session schedule shared by the committee. We also remind all presenters and participants to join the assigned Zoom rooms according to their respective session. Ladies and gentlemen, Irisa, as your MC, would like to sincerely apologize for any shortcomings or inconvenience during my role in guiding today's event. Thank you very much for your attention and participation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.